So emotional regulation is also actually very important because after you're able to recognize and label your emotions, you understand how certain emotions trigger the unhealthy behaviors.
Welcome to Reclamation, the podcast where conversations meet practical insights, guiding you through the maze of behavioral science to empower better public health outcomes. With a passion for bridging the gap between medicine, psychology, and sociology, Tabo brings a unique perspective to every episode. Get ready to reclaim your understanding of health and behavior. This is Reclamation.
How many goals have you set in your life that you actually have not seen through? Health goals in this context, obviously. How many times have you told yourself you're going to eat better, you're going to eat more greens and more proteins, you're going to cut down on specific maybe meals or portions or type of food? How many times have you told yourself you're going to maybe reduce on your substance intake, which could be the alcohol, the smoking, the tobacco? How many times have you told yourself you're going to work out more? How many times have you actually set a goal of wanting to do this and hoping you would achieve it, but then you somehow do not? I have been in similar situations so many times. I have found myself indulging in behavior I wouldn't want to, or struggling to indulge in a behavior that I actually really want to because I know the benefit that it has. But for some reason, I just wouldn't. And at the time, I wish I had knowledge on CBT, and that's what I want to talk to you about. So welcome to today's episode. If you really want to understand how you can break that vicious cycle of setting goals and never seeing them through, I feel like this episode will really help you, because an understanding of CBT has helped me personally in my life, and it has helped so many of my clients in psychotherapy as well. So when we talk about CBT, we're talking about cognitive behavior therapy. So cognitive behavior therapy has what we know as the CBT triangle, which is also known as the cognitive triangle. So this is a core concept of cognitive behavior therapy that illustrates the interconnectedness of your thoughts, your feelings, and your behavior. So when we're looking at cognitive behavior therapy, this is a type of psychotherapy that it focuses on identifying and changing your negative thought patterns and behaviors. So it's a belief that your thoughts and your feelings and behaviors are interconnected. So by changing negative thoughts and behaviors, we can improve on our emotional well-being, on our overall mental health, and hence actually get the desired behavior that we seek. And that is what I would want each and every person to actually have some basic understanding of. So cognitive behavior therapy is a model that is used with so many different clients who have different challenges such as depression, anxiety, OCD, PTSD, substance use disorders, addiction, and other behavioral disorders and challenges. It's been very effective. I've seen it also work on the clients that I've been seeing over the past few years. So with cognitive behavior therapy, as I said, we use the CBT triangle. So your thoughts, a triangle has three sides, right? Three sides and three angles. So we can imagine a triangle with one angle at the top and two at the bottom. The top one being the thoughts, the next one at the bottom being feelings, and the next one also at the same level as the feelings being your behavior. So basically what you think, what thoughts you have running in your mind have an impact and contribute to and lead to you feeling a certain type of way. And when you feel a certain type of way after thinking, you then decide to indulge in a certain behavior or not indulge in a behavior at all. So when you understand this, you're able to understand how your thoughts and how your feelings actually affect the behavior, and you're able to manipulate this. So when we look at understanding CBT and how it can work for you, you need to first start by identifying and challenging your thoughts. So this means identifying and challenging the negative thoughts. You can do this by being more aware of the thoughts. A lot of the times we are not aware of what we actually think. Sometimes we see ourselves doing something and behaving in a certain way, and we don't actually go down go back the path and see what led to that. But with cognitive behavior therapy, that is where it now comes in to say, okay, why are you behaving like this? Because you felt this way. Why did you feel this way? Because you thought in this way. So if you could start by identifying your thoughts, what is it that you actually think of? What thoughts or negative thoughts are holding you back? For example, somebody might think they have this thought that I can't handle stress without smoking. Like every single time I am stressed, I have to smoke. I have to take a cigarette. I have to take some weed. I have to maybe drink, I don't know, a shot of something really alcoholic and strong. That is a thought. But then cognitive restructuring is a core component of CBT, and it involves identifying and challenging those distorted thought patterns. Because you look at the thought that you have and ask yourself to say, is this thought actually a fact? Where did this thought come from? Where does it stem from? These thought patterns are referred to as cognitive distortions, and they can actually contribute to emotional distress and also maladaptive behaviors. So the goal of cognitive restructuring is to replace these negative thoughts with more balanced and realistic ones. So you tell yourself to say, I cannot handle stress without smoking. I cannot handle stress without eating the chocolate. Imagine you are trying to cut down on your calories and you have this thought that you can't handle stress. So you look back and actually question that thought. It's not a fact. So why do you have it? Then that way you can actually change it. I am stressed, but I can handle it in another alternative way. And that is what we do with cognitive restructuring. So for me, when it came to taking my medication, I had told myself that taking a pill every single day was so much work. But then I sat down and realized to say, no, but why did I actually think it's so much work? Because taking one pill takes less than a minute of my time. So a lot of the times you've created the problem in your thought process. And at no point do we ever say eating food every single day is so exhausting, because we need to eat the food and we are able to do it every single time. So you just approach that thought with another more positive one. So it's easy to do this sometimes because you're not always aware of your thoughts by keeping a thought diary. And that's why I always encourage a lot of the clients I see, I always encourage everybody who is having such challenges to keep a thought diary, record your thoughts, record what you're actually thinking. That way you can go back to them and actually question them. The next thing you'd need to keep in mind is being able to name the feelings and recognize and label the emotions. So in that moment after you've had that thought, how does that thought make you feel? Do you feel worthless? Do you feel stressed? Do you feel anxious? Do you feel sad? It's so much easier to deal with something if you put a label on it and know what you're actually dealing with. So how do you manage those emotions? You understand the triggers. You understand what has actually led me to feeling this way. It's because of this particular thought. What has made me feel sad? What has made me feel really angry? What has made me feel frustrated? And all the other emotions and feelings you can think of. Identify the triggers, and that way you can easily cut out the triggers if it's through a thought or if it's something that has happened that has led you to think in a certain way and that has led you to now feel what it is you are feeling. So emotional regulation is also actually very important, because after you're able to recognize and label your emotions, you understand how certain emotions trigger the unhealthy behaviors. And you're able to then develop the strategies you need to cope with these emotions in a much healthier way. Because a lot of the unhealthy habits we have, it's an attempt to cope with that trigger, that negative emotion that stemmed from a negative thought. So we have now looked at how our thoughts, which was the top of the triangle, lead to our emotions and our feelings. Now we can go and look at how the emotions and your feelings actually then lead to the behavior. So the third point would be you understanding how to modify your unhealthy behaviors. we do this through behavior activation. So behavior activation is a CBT technique that focuses on increasing engagement in positive and meaningful activities. So it's particularly effective in treating conditions such as depression, because you're not able to. A common sign of depression is you losing interest and not being able to engage in the activities you want to. So you might not be able to have the zeal to prepare the healthy meals you used to, or to be able to work out and go to the gym the way you used to. And we use a lot of behavioral activation with people with this challenge. So it helps you break the cycle of inactivity and the negative mood. So the idea is that by engaging in activities that bring pleasure or a sense of accomplishment, individuals can improve their mood and their overall well-being. So behavioral activation is very, very key, because then you're able to understand what feelings led you to that particular behavior. You feel stressed at that point, and then you decided to walk to your closest shop and get a cigarette or get a bottle of alcohol to indulge in. And then it's very easy for you to actually realize, to say, okay, there's this particular behavior that stems from this feeling. So how can I find a way of actually replacing it? So once you understand how those three, which is your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors, are interconnected, it becomes so much easier for you to actually set goals, because then you know what is actually driving the behavior that you want to actually get rid of, or what is driving or reinforcing that particular behavior, or what is actually standing in the way of you attaining the behavior you want to. So after you understand this, it's very important to actually set realistic goals and monitor your progress. So a lot of the times we have goals that I want to, like, oh, my goal this year is just to stop smoking. My goal this year is to work out more. My goal this year is to actually make sure that I take my medication, is it for diabetes or hypertension or HIV, correctly and consistently and adhere to it. But then you don't actually set smart goals. And I think when we think of smart goals, we're always thinking of work and school and a corporate world. But then for those who might not know, smart goals are just goals that are specific, that are measurable, they are achievable, and they are relevant, and they are also time bound. So SMART literally just stands for these things. The S is for specific, M is for measurable, A is for achievable, R is for relevant, and T is for time bound goals. So it's very important for you to be able to sit down with your goals and see if they are actually perfect goals. Are they specific? Are they measurable? Can you actually achieve them? And it's important to also start small and start with realistic goals, because sometimes when you set a goal in which you're only going to be able to see the results 2 years from now, the motivation to actually continue is so much harder. It's so much easier for you to set a goal and say, my goal is for me to be able to just skip rope every day for the next 10 days. You know, to say ultimately what you want to do is to be able to do that every single day for the rest of your life. But start small. Because what that does to you is that if you're able to achieve the smaller goals, it gives you more motivation to actually take a step into achieving the much larger goals, because you need that drive, you need the hormones to actually get into your head and convince you that it is possible because you've achieved something. Once you achieve something, it's so much easier for you to actually want to pursue more towards that goal. So lastly, the most important thing, even as you understand and know this and appreciate the CBT triangle, look at your thoughts and your emotions and your behaviors, you need to actually seek support and accountability. It's so important to have a community. It's so important to have somebody supporting you, somebody you can be accountable to, accountability partners. And if you can, I know the barriers that exist in seeking a coach or a therapist or a personal support, whatever form or package it is that they may come in. It's not always possible, but when it is, I always encourage and urge everybody to do so, because I believe psychotherapy it's not a it's not a treatment. A lot of people go for psychotherapy and will look for maybe a therapist or counselor who uses CBT modules in the hopes that they can fix them and treat them. But I am a strong believer that psychotherapy is more of a support than a treatment. I say this because you are the one who is in the driver's seat of your life, and what the person is doing is just supporting you as you drive to the destination that you're trying to get to, by helping you be more aware, by watching from the outside and seeing, opening you up to perspectives of your life, of your feelings, your emotions, your motivation that you might not have been able to actually see on yourself on your own, because you're the one in that situation. And that is what psychotherapy is. It's support. It's also providing you with the necessary tools that you might need after you've been aware of something. You've been made aware of yourself and your feelings and emotions and your actions. But what tools do you then have to actually make the change? Be it tools to actually communicate better, to make better decisions, to set your goals and prioritize them, by understanding your motivators, by understanding your traumas, your insecurities, and all these other things that come into play. And that is what psychotherapy does. So I really hope more people will now see it as more of a support than an actual treatment of a condition or of a challenge. It's basically, you are the one in charge. Like, you are the one in charge of getting to where you want to be. You are the one in charge of deciding, of rather engaging in that behavior and turning your life around to being a healthier, better version of yourself. As I have really talked about this so much, I just want to end by saying, remember that change takes a lot of time and effort, but with the right strategies and the right support, it's entirely achievable. So I'm hoping this will give you something to think about. I'm hoping this will encourage you to actually reflect on your thoughts, where they stem from, what might be contributing to them, the emotions that you have towards those thoughts, how you actually feel about them, and why those thoughts are wrong or right, and the emotions. And then now looking at the behavior that you choose to do, or the behavior that you're trying to cut down on. If you do need this support, you can always reach out through the show notes. There can be contacts to me, and I can also share other resources that might be necessary. I hope you have learned so much from this episode. Thank you for joining me till the very end. In the world of behavioral science, every ending is just the beginning of something new. Please remember to subscribe, leave a comment, and stay tuned for more adventures in behavioral science as we continue our journey towards a healthier, more informed decision making. Until then, stay curious, stay vigilant, stay healthy. This is Tabo Lukato Hadonka signing off from Reclamation.